Hello there, this is Tina Sibley and I'm just making this little video to explain the difference between Google Hangouts and all the various applications such as Webinar Jam, and there are others as well which I'm going to mention, how they turn Google Hangouts into webinars. But before I do that, I'm going to show you actually how to set up a Google Hangout, and then once I'm in there I'll explain to you what all the applications such as Webinar Jam are all about. Now, in order to set up a Google Hangout, which is the base element of all these fancy webinar applications, you need to have a Google Plus account. So it's not the purpose of this video to teach you how to get a Google Plus account. If you just go on Google, there will be loads of instructions, but generally you just need to set up an account with Google and get a Gmail account and then set up Google Plus. And so when you go to Google, it'll look something like this, Google Plus, and you click on that. Now, the other thing that you're going to need to do is set yourself up with a verified YouTube channel. And again, it's not the purpose of this video to teach you how to do that. There are stacks and stacks of training videos on how to set up a YouTube channel on YouTube and on Google as well. So assuming you've got yourself a Google Plus account and you've got yourself a verified YouTube channel, what you need to do is click on your Google Plus account, and that brings you to this kind of home page. And what you need to do is if you hover on this home bit here, and down here you'll find Hangouts. You'll also find a little Hangout up there. There are two kind of main types of Hangout. I mean, obviously you've got the chat function, but the two main types are the Hangouts which are broadcast. So if I click on Hangouts there, it gives me the opportunity of clicking a further button which brings me up now Hangouts on Air. Okay, Hangouts on Air are the ones that you broadcast out to everybody else. These are not private, they're public, and these are the ones which are recorded. Or you can have a private video hangout. Now, a video hangout kind of behaves a bit like Skype, where you can have up to 10 people, so yourself and 9 others, and these are private. They're not automatically recorded, so if you want to record these, what you will need to do is use some screen capture software like I'm doing right now to record this. I'm using Camtasia. Now, what you can do is you can use a Hangout on Air and you can kind of disable the public function, but that's sort of a little bit more advanced, so I'm going to just leave that one hanging, if you'll pardon the pun, for now, and we're going to ignore that for the time being. To get familiar with it, the only difference between these two is this one is just up to 10 people that you can have in the Hangout room, a bit like Skype. This one is broadcast, so it's a kind of one-way presentation to the rest of the world, and this is the one that's recorded. So for now, we're just going to click on start a video hangout on a live on a video call. And if you're just practicing, you can just ignore this. It'll say post a Hangout invitation. So let's say I want to invite a couple of buddies. I can include a message of what the Hangout's going to be. It also tells you, pops up with whatever Hangouts are happening right now, but I'm not interested in any of those. I can add people that I want to contact. So let's say, for example, I wanted to invite my friend Linda. I just start typing her name and she comes up, and I would click it up there. Okay, and if I wanted to invite a group all at once, I could click on a circle. So let's say it gives me the opportunity to choose which circles. So I could say oh right, I want people from that particular group in. Now, remember, you can only have on a sort of private hangout up to 10 people. Some of these have got more than that in them. So, and for test purposes, I'm just going to leave all of these out and basically cancel the invitations, because I just want to play with this and show you how it works. So, hi, I've now come up on camera, which is cool. So first of all then, the difference. Google Hangouts is the base element, if you like, of all these applications such as Webinar Jam and Easy Webinar, Webinar Express, and Webinar Ignition. Those are the four which are really talked about quite a lot. They all are applications which are based on Google Hangouts. Now, in order to run a webinar, you don't need actually any of those extra applications. You can run a webinar just using Google Hangouts. And one of the things that these guys use as an advertising tool, especially when they're comparing it with people like GoToWebinar, they say, you know, you don't have to pay a monthly fee, you can broadcast to unlimited attendees, and all of that kind of stuff. That's because those are features of Google Plus. All right, so this is not exclusive to those guys. You know, the ability to have unlimited attendees and the ability to the fact that you don't have to pay a monthly subscription, that is all a feature of Google Hangouts. If you can imagine these things like Webinar Jam and Easy Webinar and all of the others, they're kind of like a framework that gives you extra marketing bells and whistles and extra features to turn Google Hangouts into a webinar much more easily. Okay, that's the process, and that's how it works. So what I'm going to do in this particular video is just show you what Google Hangouts can do. Anything that you do private between you and a couple of others in a private hangout, you can do the same thing on air. The only difference is that when you're on air, you're broadcasting to all and sundry, and all and sundry can see it, and anybody can happen across it. Just like I showed you when I was setting this thing up, it gives suggestions, so it might suggest to people, oh, this hangout's happening now. And if you're playing around with it, you don't really want that to happen. So to start with, just do an ordinary video call, don't invite anybody, and play. All right, so let me show you the features then of what happened. Now, if you are not doing anything and you're just talking to webcam and you just stick your mouse over to one side, all of those buttons that you can see and all of those controls on the screen will kind of just disappear and you need to kind of hover over them again. There we go, they've disappeared now. So what you need to do is don't panic if they disappear and think, oh, I've got no controls. They're still there, they're just invisible. So all you have to do is bring your mouse back over into the frame and these controls will show up. Now, first of all, I gather this looks different on a Mac. I'm using a PC, so these controls might be in a slightly different place if you're using a Mac. But the first thing that you've got is you've got this little control panel here, which first of all you can invite people. So I could at any point during the Hangout invite somebody else to come and join in. So if I just click on that, I can then, just like I did before, add the names of any people that I want to join. So if I pick somebody, I can get this person to join me halfway through. Okay, and then you just click invite and then they get an invite, pretty much the same as they would accept a Skype call, and then they join the Hangout. Up here you can mute your microphone. Now, if you're co-presenting with people, it's a really good idea to mute the microphone when you're not talking, because what happens is Google picks up the person who's talking and they're the ones who are displayed in the big window. If you've ever watched a Google Hangout where somebody's talking and then somebody else's picture keeps popping in and out, it's because the other person has made a noise. They might have coughed or clicked on their keyboard, and what it does is Google picks it up and switches to them thinking that they're actually going to talk next. So it's a good idea to mute your microphone when you're not actually talking. Again, you've got the camera. You can turn the camera off, so you can just have that off, and then it will automatically revert to the profile picture that you set up. So let's turn that back on again. And then you've got bandwidth usage. So if you're having internet trouble, you can click on this one and you can turn your bandwidth down to, obviously the video quality will go down, but you run less risk of being booted out frequently. There's more information here on bandwidth issues, so that's quite helpful. Alright, the next thing is your let's hover over it again. Next thing is your settings. So this is where you can change from camera to camera. So if I click on this, I've got a couple of webcams set up. I'm using an external camera at the moment, but I can use the internal one, which is the one which is within my laptop, and I can choose the default device. Okay, so at the moment I'm going to stick with my Microsoft external camera, and you can play test sounds and all of that kind of thing. Audio, same thing. I'm using a Logitech USB headset, but there are different microphones that I might want to use and plug in. That's where you change that, and then you got your internal default devices. Okay, so I'm just going to save that. And this button here is something you don't want to press if you want to continue with the Hangout. That is the leave call. Now, you really need, when you have finished, you do need to click that, because on occasions I've forgotten to click that. I've tried to join another Hangout and it says, no, you can't do that because you're already on a call. So do remember to hang up. It's a bit like a phone call. You know, you don't want it left open. So when you've done, then what you can do is leave the call at the end. Alright, so that's that little row of controls. Now, over here on the left-hand side, you'll find another load of controls. Now, this very first one, once you hover over them, it tells you what it can do. So this one is the ability for you to give somebody a telephone number so that they can access your Hangouts from their phone rather than over the internet. Probably not something that's going to be used, you know, heaps, unless you've got somebody who, you know, really does need to dial in, you know, using the old kind of teleseminar method rather than webinar method. Now over here you've got chat. Now this is chat for you between the actual people who are participating in the Hangout. So if you're doing a Hangout on air, this will only be between you and the other presenters. It's not between all and sundry that you're broadcasting to. Alright, so it's only the people that you've actually invited in, and remember you can only take up to 10 presenters in the room. But if you click on the chat, it will open up here on the right hand side, and basically what happens is you chat in a box down the bottom here, and it appears just up at the top there. Now a lot of the time, I don't know why my camera has just suddenly disappeared. There we go. Now I disappeared for a second there, but you can rectify that by just clicking on yourself down here and you come up into the box. Okay, so I can type away now, and as you can see it's picked up my avatar picture from Google Plus automatically. Alright, so if I've got friends on here, we can all chat together at the same time as I'm talking up here. Now the next thing that's really that I wanted to show you is a lot of people were on a call that I was on the other night were asking, well, how do you do this lower third thing, the thing that puts your name across the bottom here? Now there is an application called Toolbox, and if you hover down all of these, now these will be in a different order depending on what you've got, because you add applications to Google Hangouts. Like for example, I just got Webinar Jam, so I've now got a Webinar Jam application there. There's screen capture, so if I want to take a picture I can do that. This is where screen share is where you want to just basically show what's on your screen, so that's if you're doing browsing or if you've got a PowerPoint presentation you want to show. This is slide share. Now slide share is another way of showing your slides. I actually downloaded it, but I don't find it that great in all honesty, so I prefer to show my PowerPoint slides through screen share. And then there's more, and if you click on more you can see up here I've got a Hangout toolbox. This is the thing that you want to click on to get to the lower third. So if you click on this toolbox, it takes a minute to download the app and open it up, and then over here you've got the toolbox itself. And that's interesting, they've added some new information about Toolbox. The important stuff again is you've got these controls across the top. So what you've got is the information about you, and this is where you add your lower third. So what you do is click on that, and hey presto, you've got a window that comes up saying lower third. My name is automatically again picked up from my Google Plus account. So I could enter a tagline in there now. So I'm going to put Webinar Diva. And I could put my website address, all that kind of stuff. Okay. You can also choose to upload a logo if you want to. I can choose a colour for my lower third. So just clicking on the colour application, and I can choose colour, or I can type in the code of my number. If I can remember, there you go, that's my preferred colour, that's my branding. And then what I can do is just turn that. Now you've got here mirror local video. Let me show you what happens if you don't do that. If I click on this on now, you can see that the lower third comes up, and you can see it's backwards. And that's because it kind of needs to be backwards for everybody else to see it. It's a bit like when you're looking in a mirror. But what I can do is click on this little thing here, which mirrors the local video, so that I see the same as what everybody else does. And there you go, it's come up there. Now, unfortunately, this kind of needs a little bit of playing with, and I gather that there are some apps where you can actually, download a better lower third, because although we've got all this space here, Webinar Diva and then my website hasn't filled in there. So you just got to play with it to see what you can fit in and what it will show. As I say, I'm not a complete expert on Google Plus as yet, but I can help you with the basics, and once I figure all of this stuff out, I will I will update it for you. You can also do overlays, and you can save some presets as well. Okay, so that's basically what the lower third is all about. Now, once I've set the lower third, I can then switch. So I can sort of go to a comment tracker. I can, choose my volume controls. There's all sorts of different things that I can use in the Hangout toolbox. All right, so that's the Hangout toolbox. Now, once it's set, it's set. So if I go back to chat, you see my lower third is still there. All right, which is quite handy. Now, there's some other cool, fun things that you can do as well, like, for example, Google Effects. So if I open up Google Effects, I can do all sorts of daft things, like I can put a crown on my head. I don't know quite why you would want to, but hey, there you go. And what's cool is as I move, the crown moves with me. My camera doesn't like me moving too much. It goes a bit all fuzzy. Or I could put a mask on. I must admit, sometimes I play around with these if I'm not the main presenter and I'm just in one of the other speakers, and you can get the giggles. You can set some hearts over yourself, or if I wanted to, I can get rid of that lot just by clicking on them, and I can give myself some devil horns. So you can have some fun with this, guys. So okay, let's remove those effects. Now, what you can also do, which is probably much more useful, is you can use sound effects. So if I'm talking to somebody and they've just told a great story, say for example of how they've used webinars to increase their business, I might want to give them a round of applause. Or if I'm about to announce a special offer, I could give a drum roll. Or no, that one's a drum roll. There you go. So yeah, that's my special offer. Or I could be talking about how webinars can actually bring you more money in. So I can do the ka-ching of the till. So there's just some silly little, effects that you can. This is why Hangouts are generally considered to be a bit more informal and a bit more fun than the kind of traditional webinar, which is a bit more. In some cases, some people are a little bit more formal with them, and it's a bit more like a kind of classroom thing. So I just thought I'd just show you some of those special effects. Now, one of the things that you do need to do is to be able to show slides. So we're going to click on the screen share. Now, when you click on screen share, it gives you the choice of what you want to share. And if you share the same thing that you're broadcasting now, that's when you get that never-ending, perpetual kind of thing that just disappears off into oblivion. So if I click on that, now as you can see at the moment, I'm actually on this Hangout full screen. So if I'm showing you the Google Hangouts one here and I click on that and then click start screen share, that's when you get that thing that goes off into oblivion. So to come out of that, you just click on screen share again and it should go back to normal. Okay. But let's say I want to show a PowerPoint. So I bring up the PowerPoint in a window. PowerPoint. There we go. Pull that up in a window. And then when I click on screen share, it now gives me the choice to click on PowerPoint. Okay. So now if I highlight that and click on start screen share, what you guys can see, or what everybody else can see, is the PowerPoint. Okay. Now obviously I have to bring that up, and I can make this as small as I want to, but you guys, if you wanted to, watching it, could actually put this onto full screen. Okay. Obviously if I have this too small here, it does appear as quite small in the window. But what I can do now is, now remember that the people watching, I'm recording this on my screen, so that's why I can see this, but other people watching won't see this window here. They will just see the normal Google Hangout. So what you can do is, once you've got your screen share going, you just click to forward the slides, and instantaneously it clicks in your presentation here. Okay, so that's just a little PowerPoint presentation that I'd put together on different examples of how you can make money from webinars. Okay, and some of the problems that you might need to encounter. Alrighty, so that's basically how you use the slide share to show PowerPoint. Let's bring that down. There are lots of little tips and techniques to show you how this works and how it happens, and just to show you what you need to be doing is you need to let's bring my PowerPoint up, just a little tip. Right, I've made that full screen for you to see it for a minute, and what I've got is it's in slideshow. So I'm just going to escape out of the slideshow and put the admin thing on. And normally when you do slideshow, it just fills the entire screen, but then Google Hangouts doesn't pick it up so easily. So what you have to do is, when you're in slideshow, you click on set up slideshow and you have it browsed by an individual window. And that allows you to show it in Google Hangouts really easily, because when it's full screen, apart from which, when it's full screen and you hit the slideshow, you lose all the other controls, so you can't see anything. So you want it in a small window. Okay, so that's how you do the how you show those. So just going to change it back to set up slideshow and put it browse in an individual window. Okay, so then when you hit from the beginning, you can make it small. Okay, cool. So that's a little tip there for you. Let's say I want to show something else. Let's say I want to show you how to do something within my browser. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to slide share again, screen share, sorry. Click on screen share, but now I'm going to click my Firefox window and start screen share. So now what you can see, or at least what the people in the Hangout can see, so if I bring the Hangout window up again, you can see that in the Hangout window people can see the screen there. So I'm in my main window, and if I want to, for example, show you where something is kept, so I might want to show you there we go, there's a training for Webinar Jam. Oh, I might want to show you a blog, for example. I wrote a blog all about Google Hangouts webinars, which platform is best, and actually you don't need one in the first place, but then why you do and what's good about them, yeah, and which ones. So I've done a little thing there. And then what I could do is I could take that URL and copy that, and then when I go back to my Hangout, I could come out of the screen share, go back to chat, and I could pop that little URL into the chat for you. Okay, and it's a clickable URL that people can click on. Right, those are the main features that you're going to need to use in delivering a webinar, which you can do on Google Hangouts. Generally, your webinars are going to be pretty much one of three things. They're going to be you talking to camera, they're going to be you showing your PowerPoint slides on screen, or they're going to be browsing some kind of, where you might be doing a webinar on how to use, I don't know, any web-based application. So it could be that you're doing a lesson on how to use Infusionsoft, or how to set up Aweber, or anything of that nature where you want to show people it happening click by click on the screen. Okay, so you can do all of those functions really between the screen share, and that's pretty much it. There's obviously more advanced stuff to Google Hangouts, but for now that's all you need to know. And the big thing is to just play with it. Now, what I'm going to do in the next video is start showing you how to use some of the Google Hangout applications, such as Webinar Jam. So I hope you found that useful, and I look forward to catching up with you soon.